I'm sitting here on this beautiful sunny afternoon in the historic city of Barcelona, on top of the majestic building and looking out at this deck, the skyline, with the backdrop of La Sagrada Familia behind me, designed by the famous Antoni Gaudi. I can't help but contemplate just what an awesome, majestic moment this is. And as I reflect, having visited his house that he designed yesterday, called the Batlo, Casa Batlo, and then again today, having spent the whole morning in the cathedral church, looking at this man's life is something incredible. He's more than a legend. He really is a hero. And I say that because when I was looking at his life, two things struck me. Firstly, he had this saying that to do things right, first you have to love, and then you have technique. And I reflect on my own journey, my own life, and contemplate. Since the very beginning, I've always done things from my heart, with a sense of purpose, with a sense of passion, direction, commitment. I remember the first time I laid eyes on the beautiful wife of mine, who's sitting here with me today. 28 years we married, by the way. It's our wedding anniversary this week, quite a long time. And all those 30 years ago, I remember laying my eyes on her for the first time. She was from a different country, from the Soviet Union. I was from Zimbabwe. But I knew that this woman was going to be the wife of my life. And I knew at that moment she became the purpose of my life, to follow her and to get her to come back and start a life with me in Zimbabwe. And this has been the motto of my journey, really to have grit, gut, determination, perseverance, to never give up until the end. And as I look at Gaudi, he had this love of what he did, a passion for his architecture, for his skill. He loved the nature around him, and he used those elements into his design. And then the second part of what he says is perfection. He calls it execution, or he may call it, in his words, technique. But for me, it's all about execution. And at the end of the day, if we execute things in perfection, in preciseness, then we can see the result of what we're capable of. And he's not just a monument in his time era where he lived. And this is bearing in mind, he died in 1926. He did these buildings and designs more than 100 years ago. He was not only famous for what he did during his lifetime, but he was famous for what he left behind after his lifetime. You see, this is a man who had a dream, who had a vision, and the legend that he left us is now being fulfilled today. In fact, the very building that's behind me has taken more than 100 years to build. He spent 43 years of his life building this monumental construction at the time. It was something that no one had seen. It was something way ahead of its time. Even in today's terms, when you walk into that church, there's no other church like it in the world. You are blown away. It's breathtaking. The light elements, the air elements, everything that he's done is completely unique. And yet he's having it done now by other people. He left them a blueprint. And the design that he gave to them was something phenomenal, something that they're still using to this day. You see, why I talk about Gaudi is he truly is a living legend, even though he's no longer here. And in my own business, we believe in leaving a lasting legacy. We want our children's children to benefit from what we're doing. I know that the projects that I've embarked on are far beyond my lifetime. I will not see the completion of them, but I have a clear vision of what we want to do. And it's an exciting vision. It's to bring something to Zimbabwe that no one has done before. And I do believe that through economic means, we can give economic emancipation for our people. We can create jobs. We can bring in investment. We can bring Dubai to Zimbabwe. There's no reason why we can't have the best of the buildings available. There's no reason why our people can't live a luxury lifestyle, because we are about lifestyle. We are about doing things of quality and affordability. And as I've strived in my life's journey to focus the last 2 decades on property, and particularly the last decades on West Prop, Zimbabwe, I've begun to realize that I do have a love for the property in Zimbabwe. I do have a love for doing things perfectly. And my team has come together in a miraculous way, in a marvelous way, to be able to design these projects that are absolutely new for Zimbabwe. We are doing things that are historic. You know, we've brought the Millennium Heights development. We've completed the first building of 24 units. We're now constructing the second building of 48 units. And this is the project of 1,000 apartments in Harare, right in Borodale. Right in Borodale, we're bringing affordability to the people for the first time. They can own a studio for $31,000 US. Where's that happened before? We give them time to pay, and we're bringing the Dubai to Zimbabwe. We're bringing something completely different that the market's seen before. In fact, the latest development we have is called Pomona City. And Pomona City is special because Pomona City is based on a leasehold concept. This is a project that brings quality and affordability. Many people haven't heard about leasehold. They think freehold is the only way to own a property. But there is a mechanism of leasehold. 50 years a lease. One might say that's not long enough. I can live longer than 50 years. But this is a perpetual lease that's renewable for eternity. What it does do is it frees up the capital that someone would rather use on their house construction than on buying the stand. And by doing that, people can immediately start building, get their house out of the ground, live in their dream home without having to outlay capital on the land. This is why we've done leasehold. Of course, to us as a developer, it's a much longer term vision than to realize value that we could realize for selling the land. To lease it out at $200 or $300 a month, it takes a long time to recover the capital. In fact, the payments don't even service the debt. If we were selling the land on a mortgage, the interest rate alone would be more than the leasehold rental fee. So we do believe this is one of the unique, innovative ways we are bringing Zimbabwe to be able to come up in terms of economics. We also believe in wealth management. And I personally am a strong believer in momentum wealth generation. I do believe that the previous generation can do more for the next generation. And owning a property is one of the most significant things the current generation can do for their children. I know that when they invest in a property with us, they could leave their children with more than they had. That's what I have to say today, and thank you for tuning in. My name is Ken Sharpe, the CEO of Westprop, and it's a pleasure talking with you. Thank you very much.